What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Human Proof podcast and broadcast. This is a Facebook Live as well. Today, we are with Louie, who is a Facebook ads expert, but not just any Facebook ads expert. She's a Facebook ads expert for the blogging world. So this will be a very, very exciting conversation. Monica, hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people are looking forward to this conversation. Monica, I think it'd be, the first thing is to probably introduce yourself. So why don't I let you take it away and let everybody know what you're all about?
Yes. So I'm a Facebook and Instagram ads strategist in right outside Portland, Oregon, Southwest Washington. And I actually have a growing virtual team all across the United States and even one person in Canada and one person in the UK. And so we've been growing up our ads agency. So we work with clients running Facebook ads for them. We work with a lot of bloggers and then online course creators to drive traffic to monetized blog posts and to their sales funnels. And I also have a course, Flourish with Facebook Ads, that I have almost 300 students in that program now, and a lot of really great success stories coming out of that program. So it's been a lot of fun to dive into the world of Facebook ads, and we just get to talk about strategy and testing new things and new ideas with our clients, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Facebook ads world is pretty exciting just because I think it actually, I mean, Google moves pretty fast, but I think Facebook ads probably move a heck of a lot faster just because, I mean, the bidding process itself makes it a unique world. But before we even talk about Facebook ads, I think it'll be interesting for people to know a little bit about your background, right? Because you focus mostly on, well, at least you did in the blogging world. So. And I think you had your own personal finance I'm not actually, I don't know if it's a personal finance site, but I do know it's a finance site. So maybe we can talk about that. How did that all start with you?
Yeah.
What was the idea behind starting your own blog?
Yeah. So back in, let's see, so my kids are 7.5 and 5 now, but when they were little and I was actually pregnant with my daughter, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I knew that I wanted to make that transition and leave my corporate job, but I also wanted to figure out how to create a business from home. And so I started learning about blogging. I was following Michael Hyatt at the time, and he was talking about how blogging is a great way to share your message, to build an audience. And then I read The $100 Startup from Chris Guillebeau. And he also talked about how blogging is a great way to grow your audience and share your message. And I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do for a business idea, but I wanted to start with something small that I could, work around my schedule with my kids and then grow it over time as they got bigger and into school. And looking back, that's exactly what I've done. And so my husband and I, in making that transition from 2 incomes down to 1, we built up our savings. We were trying to be really responsible about it. And we paid off our credit card, or no, we paid off our car. And we just felt very vulnerable going from 2 incomes down to 1 intentionally. And so going into it a couple months later, we realized that we were like our savings was diminishing a bit, not a whole lot, but a bit. And it made us nervous because, as I said, I was pregnant with my daughter, didn't want to go back to work at that time. And so I decided, well, my corporate career was in the world of finance. And so I was going to dive into the personal finance world and learn, how do people do this? How do people stay afloat on a single income with, a young family, young kids? And that's when I started hearing success stories about people paying off debt really quickly. And I came across a story of a young family similar to ours. I think they were also on a single income with little kids, and they paid off all of their debt, including their mortgage, in 10 years. And I got really excited about that. And so I told my husband about that. And I told him that, well, if they did it in 10, I think we can do it in 8, because we were 32. I was like, let's do it by the time we're 40. So he was all on board. We were very excited. And so we just hit the ground running, paying off debt left and right. So we paid off $120,000 of debt on a single income in 2 years with 2 little kids. And so from that's when people started asking about, how were we doing that, especially as coworkers that knew, they were making roughly about the same as my husband, and we had just gone to a single income, and now all of a sudden we're paying off all this debt. How are we making that happen? And so I just realized that that is something that I could share, in a blog, helping people get out of debt. That's why I can make a contribution. And help other people get out of debt, just like we were doing. And so that's where I started my personal finance blog in January of 2015. And I was following Amy Porterfield, Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income, and really started learning all I could about online marketing and just fell in love with the online marketing world. And that's where I explored with Facebook ads with my first blog. And those first campaigns went really well. And so as I started to make friends in the personal finance community in the blogging space, they started to ask for my help with their Facebook ads. So through 2016, then I helped people with different strategies with their Facebook ads. And I realized that by helping different people, different audiences, different offers, different strategies, that we were all having, all of our campaigns were having really great results. And I was having a lot of fun. And so by the end of 2016, I ended up selling my personal finance blog and then transitioning to dive into Facebook ads, the Facebook ads world full time.
Was it easy to sell your site, your personal finance site?
It was actually, I think it was meant to be, because one of the people who I met in the personal finance blogging community, he was somebody that I had worked with his Facebook ads, worked with him and his blog on Facebook ads. And he kept asking me if I heard of anybody who wanted to sell their personal finance site, their personal finance blog, to let him know. And so anytime in the Facebook communities I would hear, somebody was interested or thinking about it, then I would let him know. And so then finally, when I decided, well, maybe, I'm thinking about transitioning, I wonder if he would be interested in my site. I reached out to him. We already had this relationship. And so it was just very easy. He wanted my site. And so we agreed upon the terms, and it was very simple. So yeah, I don't think it always works out that way, but I already had that relationship, and he had planted the seed, in my head. And so I just decided to reach out and see if he was interested, and he was.
Very cool. The reason why I asked that is just because sometimes I guess with a personal finance blog, it's so connected to that person or that couple that it's hard to be like, oh, I'm going to buy that because, but those are the faces of the
Right.
of the blog essentially, right? So
Right.
I thought that maybe that would have been a hurdle, but I guess it sounds like it wasn't a hurdle. Like, how does someone actually go past that actually in terms of
Yeah.
do they just publish under a different name or something like that?
Yeah, so he hired a writer to take over the site, and there was a transition period where my, face and name was still all over the site for a while. And so then once I started doing Facebook ads, people were confused. Are you doing the, debt stuff, or are you doing Facebook ads? So there was a little bit of a transition period there before they got the site updated and really focused in on the writer. And now it's more like a general personal finance and saving money, getting out of debt site.
Cool. Okay, that makes sense. All right, let's dive into the fun stuff. So let's talk about Facebook ads then. What kind of methodology do you practice for running Facebook ads as a blogger to monetized blog posts?
Yes.
How does that work?
Okay. So this is a great strategy that I feel like I'm really glad we're talking about this, because I feel like a lot of people they're not aware that this is a strategy that bloggers who are making money from their blog, from their monetized blog posts, can actually tap into. And so this idea came about really, and how I got pulled into it was from Kyle Taylor from the Penny Hoarder. I know you mentioned the Penny Hoarder blog. And it's a humongous blog. If you're not aware of it, I think that they were on track to make $40 million last year. Huge blog. And that is their primary business model. And so very successful. And Kyle, back when I was making this transition, he was speaking to the personal finance community about how he grew his blog so quickly. And one of the ways that he did that was by driving Facebook ad traffic to his monetized blog posts, and then just, continuing to reinvest into more ads and drive more traffic. So with my clients, a few of my very first clients reached out to me to employ this strategy. And so we really refined it and perfected it. And it's a strategy that we still do with multiple clients to this day. And now we've even broadened past the personal finance niche. Now we're working in other niches, driving traffic to monetize blog posts. So it works really well. So the way that we do that is we get very clear Well, first we select the article. And so I recommend, in looking for an article to test to start with, look at what's already getting engagement, what's already monetized well, what's already bringing in revenue. And if you can find that combination where it's already bringing in consistent revenue through your affiliates in that blog post, and it's already getting good engagement, people are interested in that topic, then that's a perfect article to test with this strategy. So, and if you don't have an article that kind of fits all of those criteria, then you can look at your articles about, like, well, which are the articles that are getting engagement? And then can I add affiliates to that? Can I change it up? Can I update it a bit and make it so that it is monetized a little bit better? Or can I take a monetized, blog post and kind of update it a bit to make it a little bit more intriguing and a little bit more click worthy? And so then you can try and add that effect to it as well. So once you have your article, then you get clear about, well, who do I want to drive traffic to? Who is this article making sense for? And if it's already been getting good traffic, then I love to create lookalike audiences from people who visited that blog post already, because then that allows Facebook to look at those people who have visited that article already, and then find more of those people who are also likely to be interested in that content. So then we find our audiences that we want to test. Then we create the ad, and the ad is just very simple. Usually it's just a static image with an intriguing headline to grab attention, an image that grabs attention, and then just a little bit of text above the image that kind of piques the users, the readers, the curiosity, so that they click. And the reason that we keep the ad is very simple is because we don't necessarily want a lot of engagement. We don't, on the ad, engagement is always good, but we don't want people spending a lot of time engaging on the ad. We want them to be intrigued, pique their curiosity, click through, and then engage in the blog post so that they can be more likely to click on those affiliate links.
What is an example of a simple ad?
An example, so it would be an eye-catching image. So we usually use stock photos, and Facebook gives us the option to use stock photos in their platform that we can use within the ads. We can use those images for free, or you can go to stock photo sites. Unsplash.com is a great free site. We also use deposit photos and other stock photo sites, but we find a really great image that grabs attention. And so we want it to be something that is a little bit different from what people are seeing in their news feed. Oftentimes we want it to have bright colors, but not necessarily always. So I encourage people to pay attention to what grabs their attention in their newsfeed. So spend some time scrolling through Facebook and really just pay attention. What makes you pause for a second? What makes you hesitate? What makes you engage with somebody's post, whether it's a post from a friend or an ad? What grabs your attention? And then apply those elements to your ad and to your image. So the image grabs attention first, usually, and then the headline is really the next piece that draws the reader in to have them connect that I'm interested in this topic.
Cool. I think it'd be interesting one day to see your swipe files. So with you mentioned the penny hoarder. Penny Hoarder is a huge blog. I think Penny Hoarder is kind of in the personal finance. Well, I guess it would be, because it's called the Penny Hoarder. I did hear an article, or I had a podcast a while back. I don't remember which podcast it was on, but it was with Kyle Taylor, right. And I think he mentioned that he spends $10,000 or more a day on Facebook ads, which is insane. And I don't think they have any products. I think they just do affiliate offers. So it is a good opportunity for you guys. If you want to go check out what they're doing, just go to thepennyhoarder.com. You'll get on their retargeting list, and then at some point it's likely that you'll get hit with an ad, and you'll probably see a decent example, at least, of what Monica's talking about here. So the interesting thing, for if we were to use the Penny Hoarder as an example, is that they might have a piece of content that's like, I don't know, 200 side hustles for 2019. That
Mhm.
sounds like something the penny
Right.
hoarder would do there. And when you go in and you click on those links, there's affiliate offers in there for surveys or Uber or basically any type of affiliate program, which is essentially a side hustle
Mhm.
for people. What I think is what I'm trying to get at also is a question of what is like an average commission value that you think makes it worth it, right? Because a lot of our audience, if not 99% of them, are part of the Amazon affiliate program,
Mhm.
and the commissions there are although obviously Amazon has by far the highest conversion rates out of any e-commerce business ever. They don't pay that much for their affiliate program in terms of a percentage wise. So I think that's what makes it unattractive to run Facebook ads for the majority of our audience. But for example, with the penny hoarder, they've got they might have some affiliate stuff that pays like $50 commission. Do you, when going into this whole process of running Facebook ads for monetized posts, is there a value that you'd like to see in terms of the amount of commission that one lead or sale would get?
So it can really vary. We have had success with payouts, as low as $1 or $2 per, per payout, up to, 200 plus dollars. And so really, if you're driving the volume, then the $1 or $2 commission can really make it work. And then with the, 200 plus commission, you don't need as much volume in order to have that return on your ad spend. So one way that we kind of test it out is I like to see like a listicle. So like 200 ways, maybe 200 might be a lot for somebody on Facebook to scroll through. So, 15 ways or 25 ways or something, some number that's more easily digestible, because think about, most people on Facebook are on their phone. So you don't want the content to be too overwhelming. And also, you don't want to have too many offers in that blog post to distract them. So, one of the articles that's worked the best for my clients has been 7 ways. And so, there's a list of 7 ways and to improve your finances. And so, each one of those ways is an affiliate. And this client specifically, he's very on top of testing and paying attention to which affiliates actually convert. If he's driving links, clicks from his blog post and he's paying for traffic to get people to click through those affiliate links, then he wants to make sure that they are converting. So he's just aware of which affiliates are converting in that blog post. And then if they're not converting for him and he's, essentially losing that traffic because he's driving those traffic, those people away from his site and then they're not converting, he'll switch it out with another affiliate that might convert better. And so he keeps a close eye on that. But having those different offers means that he has more opportunities rather than having just a single offer in that blog post. And those are for the lower priced or lower paying affiliates. I've got a client where we're driving traffic to a higher paying affiliate, the 200 plus per payout commission. And so that is the only offer in that blog post. And our cost per click, per landing page view for driving traffic can be higher because it doesn't take as many conversions, to offset that cost and then reap the profit. So it really is kind of a case by case basis. But if you do have the lower paying affiliates for like Amazon, then I would suggest having more throughout, having different offers. And then of course, if you're driving traffic to Amazon, if they end up, adding something else to their cart, and picking up something else, then that can increase your payout as well.
Very cool. So before we got on the call, I think you mentioned that you do have a client, or maybe you have several clients that work in the Amazon, that work a lot with the Amazon affiliate program. Can we talk a little
Yeah.
bit about that? Like, what is there a unique situation that makes their content more prone to, I guess, conversions
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. So one of my clients, her biggest affiliate is Amazon. She does have a few other affiliates that she makes consistent revenue with, but affiliate or Amazon is her primary affiliate, and we have had great success driving traffic to her monetized blog posts. And those products, she's in the fashion space. So those products are primarily, pieces of clothing or accessories, and they convert really well. So she basically compiles, review of these are the top fashion, pieces for this thing, or for this, time of year, or for this occasion. And so then we're targeting people who are interested in that topic. And then they are more likely to click through, and then they make purchases. And maybe, I haven't seen the back end of her Amazon affiliates. So I don't know if, because her audience is the shopper that's interested in fashion, if they're more likely to load up, one or two or three or more items in their cart. So that kind of helps it make it more profitable. But I know that those blog posts, we are getting traffic down as low as 3 cents. We've got traffic 3 to 7 cents right now for her blog posts. And then we are tracking, she provides us the report of the revenue from those blog posts. And so we're able to see that those blog posts are profitable.
Okay, very cool, very cool. I guess that was a question that I was going to ask as well. And maybe there's an opportunity to dive there. If there isn't, of course, no worries. But I'm going to ask it anyways because I think it's important. So one of the questions I had for you was, how do you track return on ad spend with affiliate platforms where you don't have direct data on conversions? So it basically sounds like your situation there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is something that we run into a lot with our clients, where it is difficult to track, because, especially if you're using different affiliate platforms, then they have reporting, in different time frames where they might not be, reported up to the minute, or there might be a delay. And so it can be really hard to track those. To track those commissions, and are they coming from people who viewed the ad? And so one thing we do in general, is we look at, can we look at, how much did the site overall make, and get a revenue per page view from the site. So we look at the revenue overall for like the last month, and then how many page views did the site get. So overall, we know the site is making 6 cents or whatever it is per page view. So if we can get below that, then we're doing pretty good. But then, of course, we are more targeted in the blog post that we are promoting. So if we can, and some clients have this data and some don't, but we try and get them to look at, well, can you kind of narrow in on how much that blog post brought in, last month, revenue per page view. And so if they can get that specific, I know that's where it can get kind of difficult. Then that gives us a good guideline that we know this article is making 15 cents per page view. So if we're at 10 or under, then we're good, and so that's where we really like to look at. Some of my clients have gotten more sophisticated with Google Tag Manager and being able to track those outbound links and then put a conversion value on those. And they might also have more information from their affiliates. I'm not exactly sure because I haven't seen the back end of how they get it set up, but I know that they do have more data using Google Tag Manager. So that's something that I encourage people to look into getting set up if they really want to, fine tune this and see where the traffic is coming from, and then is it actually leading to those conversions.
Okay, cool. So that's pretty interesting about the Google Tag Manager tip there. That's a hot tip right there. I mean, so basically, though, it sounds like it's you're still basically working that out then, because it's impossible to figure out, but you're doing the best you can at this moment.
Yeah, we're doing the best. And also Facebook is giving us more tools. And I think that their reporting is going to be getting better. So then we can, at least I think they're rolling out some ways that we can actually track what happens on the back end after the ad click. So our team is staying on top of that and looking into, using those as those become available with our clients as well.
Cool.
So that could be coming.
I mean, I'd love to hear an update on that in the future for sure. Let's talk about different ad strategies that you've tried out that did not work. So they didn't work for you, and basically you guys lost money on it. And then maybe we can talk about the polarizing end of strategies that did work.
Sure. So I think there's not really a strategy that I've come across or that we've tested that doesn't work. What we've run into is that if we're driving traffic to a sales funnel that hasn't been proven, then that's where, it's a test. So you can use Facebook ads in one of two ways. You can use Facebook ads to fuel a funnel that is working. So whether that's driving traffic to a monetized blog post that already converts, that blog post converts already, or a sales funnel. A lot of our clients who are using the evergreen sales funnel, they have evergreen webinars. So if you know that that's already working and leading to sales, then you can just fuel that fire with Facebook ads. The other way that you can use Facebook ads is to test and see if a funnel or a strategy is going to work. And so, maybe you have something that you set up and you just need to drive the traffic to it on a consistent basis to see, does it really convert? And then that's where, if it hasn't been proven, if it hasn't been fully tested with enough traffic yet to get those good conversion rates, or those numbers to know if it converts, then that's where, you can feel like you are, wasting your money on Facebook ads. But really, it could be an ad issue, but usually it's, if it is down to the Facebook ad strategy, then it's either a targeting issue, the ad just isn't connecting and drawing those people in, or maybe it's just not the right offer. Their offer isn't presented in the right way. And so that's on the ad side where we can work with our clients to control that side of the piece. The other end is, well, does the funnel convert? What is happening after? If we are getting good traffic, we are getting good conversion rates for that first initial opt-in, and what's happening after the fact where the sales are dropping off. So that's where we do work with our clients to kind of, figure out where are ways that we can improve or have them improve, the sales funnel after we get people into the funnel.
Okay. So there's not quite a strategy that doesn't work. It just means that there's something deeper in there, basically.
I guess, so everything can be disproven. I think the strategy that I don't necessarily jump on is driving traffic straight to an offer, like a paid offer, especially if it's a higher paid offer. We have this, but then again, like with one of my clients, it works really well because he has a really warm, engaged audience and he's got a great offer, but we are driving traffic straight to his paid product. It's $97, but he's got so many raving testimonials. The product is really well known in his niche, in his industry. And so he's done the work in making it really easy for us to just find the right people to drive to his sales page, and then he makes sales. Not everybody can do that, especially if you have a brand new brand, you don't have, that large community of raving fans yet. Then, driving traffic straight to a sales page could mean that you're, just missing out. And you could be being more effective, more strategic with that traffic and warming them up first to get to know you, get to know what you teach about, what you share about, how you help people, and then lead them to the offer on the back end.
Okay, cool. What are your thoughts on people running Facebook ads to their blog when they're just starting out? Do you think that's a good idea?
I think if you have the money to invest in Facebook ads when you're just starting out and you know that it's going to take some time and some testing, until you really hone in on a strategy or a blog post, or something that really connects and you get all the pieces in place, then you can definitely start there. So I wouldn't push people away from testing Facebook ads, but if you already know, I think you're in a better position to test ads if you already know that your offer is converting. So you know that you've got that blog post, it's already getting good traffic, people are engaging with it, people are clicking through, you're getting those affiliate commissions coming in on a consistent basis, then you're in the prime spot to test Facebook ads. If you're willing to, know that it's going to take some time, some testing, some tweaking, and you're all in for that, then definitely Facebook ads can be a great point. One of my most successful clients with Facebook ads, we started with $1,000 in ad spend in 1 month. And he was making some money from his blog already through affiliate offers, but he wanted to go all in and figure out, Facebook ads. And so our first campaign that we tried, it didn't really do a whole lot. So then we tried another blog post, and then that one started to build up momentum, and then we really started to learn. And so then we were able to, take from our experience and then apply that to other blog posts. And then we went back to that first one and ended up making that one of the most profitable campaigns. So it just can take some time. And what doesn't work now Doesn't necessarily mean that it won't ever work. It just might mean that it's not the right time of year. If your niche, if your industry has seasons, or maybe you just need to position the offer in a different way. So there are a lot of different things that you can test and tweak and improve upon. And so you might learn something in another campaign that you can use, with your other campaigns as well.
Okay, cool. I think like one thing that always goes through my mind is that at least maybe this is just my personal opinion, is just that Facebook ads are fantastic, but they're harder in a sense to fit into your flywheel of marketing, except for maybe at the very end when, like what you mentioned about that one client that you had that has a $97 offer, but it works well because everyone already knows him because he's already done the foundational work there.
Right.
Um, One thing I'm thinking about too is that so the first part of your strategy was the article. So making sure that the article is monetized well and it's yeah, that stuff. And then the next part was the lookalike audiences after. Uh, well, I guess the first step before that is getting a Facebook pixel on your site.
Absolutely. Yes. That is step one.
Yeah. So if you don't have that, then put that on. But like what I'm wondering is have you in your position, since you're running so many ads and probably regenerating more and more lookalike audiences, is there a diminishing returns that comes from that?
Oh, interesting question. So, like, will you ever tap out your lookalike audiences? Is that the
Yeah.
question?
Yeah,
Okay.
or like maybe
So,
it doesn't work as well.
yeah. So, with lookalike audiences, okay. So, with a lookalike audience, and my example was creating a lookalike audience of people who visited that blog post. So, in order to create that audience, you need to first have the pixel, as you said, on your website. So, that is step one. Even if you're not ready to run ads right now, if you are thinking that maybe someday you will be ready to run ads, get the Facebook pixel on your site. And then any other landing pages, if you use something like lead pages or Instapage or any other landing pages, make sure that you have your pixel there. And then that allows Facebook to communicate with your website and build data of your visitors. So then you can go in and create audiences of people who are visiting your website, people who are visiting specific pages. So like that specific blog post that you want to drive traffic to. And you can create a whole bunch of different combinations of audiences just by using the Facebook pixel. So with that, then once you have that source audience, it's called the source audience, created of people who visited that blog post, then you can create a lookalike audience of that. And so as long as that blog post is still getting traffic, then that lookalike audience is still going to be getting updated. So the lookalike audience continues to update. And so as long as it's still having a good source of traffic to create that lookalike from, then it's still going to be a good audience. I mean, in our experience, they don't ever run out as long as we're continuing. If we're using that strategy of the lookalike of the blog post visitors, then as long as we're still driving traffic, we know that there's consistent traffic going to that article, then that lookalike audience, I mean, can work for months and months and months and years. And so it really depends on what you're doing a lookalike of. So let's say you posted a video on your Facebook page and it got 400 views, and then you use those people who viewed that video as a lookalike audience. Well, depending on the time frame, let's say you did like a 30-day, because you have to set the time frame for Facebook to look at. So if you did 30 days, then if that video is still not getting more views, and then because you're not driving traffic for more people to watch the video, then that lookalike audience might stop working because it's not getting that information in order to create a really solid lookalike audience from. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think maybe this is another part too, is that from my I also obviously I don't know Facebook ads nearly as well as you do, but like I always thought that once the lookalike audiences that you created was a set uh, audience. I guess
So it's
that's
created and it's just set and it's done.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't. So what you're saying is that it actually updates based
It
on the
does.
source audience. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's always updating. And so people might come into that lookalike audience because they match that criteria of people who have similar interests and behaviors as those people who visited your blog posts. And then, their behaviors, if their behaviors change and they're no longer showing interest in that topic, then Facebook will move them out of the lookalike audience and bring in more people who are showing those, behaviors and interests and actions to show that they're interested in that content.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
love about lookalike audiences, and we use them so much because Facebook does a lot of the hard work for us in helping us find, as long as we can tell Facebook to help, to help us find more of these people, these are the people that we want, then it consistently does the work for us in figuring out who are those right people to put in that audience. And I find that it does a great job of keeping that audience filled with people who are interested.
have you explored um, other ad networks or yeah, other ad platforms? So not Facebook, like let's say Pinterest or Quora. Quora is a new one, stuff like that. Have you explored that kind of stuff using this strategy of monetizing, uh, running ads to monetize blog posts?
Yes. Yeah. So we do Instagram. We do a lot of Instagram ads. Of course, Facebook owns Instagram. So we do a lot of with Instagram. We find that Instagram doesn't work as well for this strategy. Um, that it does better with driving traffic into sales funnels rather than just promoting a blog post. The cost can be higher. And so therefore, with the affiliate commission, then that return on ad spend might not be there with Instagram just because the cost per click can be much higher since people aren't generally clicking through and digesting content in that way on that platform. We have also tested with Quora and Pinterest, and Quora, just one of my clients was interested in that. And so we did that for a little bit. But that is a different platform, where it is question based. And so we did that just for a little bit. And I think on his end, it just wasn't making sense or he wasn't getting enough clicks. And that's also a bid strategy where your bid has to be high enough. And so then it was just like, well, we can get much lower cost per click and the conversions on Facebook. So we kind of pulled the plug on testing Quora, but I wouldn't rule it out. I think it's definitely something to test. With Pinterest, we have had, we've worked with a number of clients now, our blogging clients, driving traffic to their monetized blog posts via Pinterest. And that is working really well. And the cost per click we've gotten it down to 10 cents or below, not necessarily in the 3, 4, 5 cent range, but because people are searching on Pinterest for those keywords, searching for those solutions on Pinterest, we've found that the conversions can be higher there. And so that is something that we're excited to try with more of our blogging clients because we think that it really makes sense, especially, if their audience is on Pinterest, if they're searching for those solutions on Pinterest, then it can really make sense. So that's something we're really excited to do more of in 2019.
Cool. Yeah, Pinterest is a very cool platform. I'd like to play a little bit of a game, actually. So,
Sure.
um, let's pretend I am running a. I'm running it, and I've decided I've listened to this podcast and I've heard great things, and I want to give this a shot. Okay, and I guess at the end of the episode, you guys are going to get. Monica's created something at the end of the episode that you guys can check out to help you out. But after they've looked at that, they essentially want to go run some Facebook ads, and they're running ads to a monetized blog post, and uh, the cost per click is too high. I don't know, maybe I don't know what a too high number is, but let's say like 20 cents seems pretty high to me. What do you do at that point?
Okay. So if we have an ad and we want to bring costs down, and we know that the article converts, and so we still want to stick with driving traffic to that article, then our first test is usually to test out a different image. So the image can have a big impact on the click through and the engagement on the ad. So testing a different image is where we first start. And then we'll brainstorm other headlines, other text above the image, um, So what we find is, for order of importance, is the image, then the headline, then the text above the image. So we will brainstorm other ideas to drive traffic to that blog post.
Okay. Okay. So it's a matter of just split testing and stuff like
Split
that.
testing, exactly. But we only test, we make one change at a time. And so we might use, if it makes sense with the image, then we'll, use the same headline and text and then test a new image. And we like to test them at the same time so that we can see, was it just an off week for this first version of the ad, or is this one really outperforming during the same time period?
So does that mean that you double your ad spend then for those tests?
Yes. And so we generally, for traffic campaigns, will start each test at $5 per day. So it doesn't have to be a large, ad spend in order to do some split testing.
Um, how long do you think well, how long would you run those tests for?
Sure. So at least 4 days. I like to give it at least 3 to 4 days before we make any changes, whether that means, it's working really great and we're going to start slowly increasing the budgets, or we're going to bring in a new test and test something else. And if you can run those tests over the weekend, then that's even better. We find that engagement and costs are much better over the weekend and on Mondays as people are easing back into their work week. Monday tends to be a really good day for ads cost wise. And then costs kind of creep up as people kind of get more focused on work midweek. I find that Wednesdays generally have higher costs. And that's my theory, is that people are more focused on work and doing less scrolling on Wednesday. But then as it gets closer to the weekend, then they're more engaged, more engaged on Facebook. And then Monday is a really good day.
Okay, that's very interesting. So if somebody really was, let's say, on a budget and stuff like that, can you just set it so that your ads run on those days, like the weekend and Mondays?
You have that ability to do that. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because the algorithm really works for you to help you show the ad to the right people. So, especially with the Facebook pixel in place, then Facebook is learning who is clicking through, who is landing on the landing page if you're using the landing page option for optimization. Um, and so it really takes that information and searches through the audience that you selected to find more people who are likely to take that action. So Facebook understands our behavior, and it also knows that, there are going to be more people more interested in that topic during certain times of day and during certain days. And so it doesn't, even if we set the budget at $5 a day, it doesn't always spend a flat $5. Sometimes it'll spend 478. Other days it'll spend, 512. And so it's an average of $5 per day. But then also during the times of day, it definitely slows down where it doesn't, have as much reach, which means not as many people are seeing the ad, in the, early morning, midnight hours. But then when people are more engaged on the platform, then it will push out the ad. So a lot of times we'll see costs are maybe a little bit higher in the morning, but then they come down during the day as people are engaged more on Facebook. And usually in our experience, that means like later afternoon, evening is when people are really paying attention and clicking through on Facebook.
Okay. When you first started doing this stuff, running ads and whatnot, that practice of driving down the cost per click there has that time decreased now that you are presumably a better, more of an expert at this, or does it, has it kind of stayed the same?
Yeah. So, I mean, in most cases, yes, because now we really know how to choose a great image. We know what kind of headlines attract people to click through. We know what kind of text to use to pique their curiosity. And I've been able to teach this not only to my team, but also my students in my course. And they're seeing, the same results in following these processes that we've talked about today.
Cool, cool. What are your predictions for Facebook ads? Well, maybe not even Facebook ads, just Facebook in general for the upcoming year. Do you have any predictions?
Yeah. So for 2019, what's going to be a really um, important thing to pay attention to is Messenger. So I mean, that kind of blew up in 2018. It became a hot topic all through 2018. But with 1.3 billion Facebook Messenger users, it's definitely something to pay attention to, interacting with your audience via Facebook Messenger. And so that could be using ads, it could be using bots, but really paying attention to how you can use that, because especially if you get somebody to, subscribe to your Messenger list, the open rates are just through the roof compared to email. And I don't think email is going away ever, but I think that you can be strategic in getting people to interact with you via Facebook Messenger, with your page, and then also, offer them your lead magnet and have them provide their email address in order to opt in for the lead magnet. So you can grow your email list that way. But then anytime you have a new article, new podcast, you can push that out to your Messenger audience, but just always give them a way to unsubscribe. It's just respectful to give them that option, because it can be hard to know how to unsubscribe via Messenger. So always give them that option, because you really only want people engaging with you if they really want to be there engaging with you. And then the other thing that we are doing a lot with ads but ads and non-ads, is Facebook and Instagram stories. So Instagram stories, we've been having great success with our ads there and that placement. And now we have the option to drive ads on Facebook stories as well. That was a recent addition. And then they're giving us more options even within Instagram stories, where now we have the ability to do a carousel ad, which just means there are 3 15-second Instagram stories that we can have in a carousel. So we can give a little bit more information rather than just having one 15-second slot. But then they're also rolling out new options where people can have the option to click. So the user can have the option to click to keep watching. And then you can have up to 10 stories in that carousel. So they're giving us a lot more options there. And they're also going to be giving us more options with WhatsApp and the WhatsApp platform for ads as well. So that's definitely coming.
Cool. So that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
that's why we have so much fun doing this, because there's always something new to test. There's always something new to try. And even when Facebook gives us new features, sometimes they don't work great from the beginning. So it might be worth to, test it out. And then if it doesn't work out great, then come back to it later, because they often improve. And so it's always fun testing.
Yeah. And personally for me, I've seen Facebook stories. I don't know how long they've been around for, but long enough at this point. But I don't know why. But recently, I've started looking at Facebook stories more and more and more, and I don't know why. Maybe they've just changed the position they're laid out on the platform, which would make sense. But yeah, it was interesting that you mentioned that, because I noticed myself going on those more. Let's actually one question I have is so this is your full-time business now, right? And what I think is interesting though for people that are at the top of their game is asking them who they're paying attention to. So do you have any mentors, or who are you learning Facebook ads from, marketing, any type of stuff that you, any mentor essentially that you'd like to want to mention?
Yeah. So Pat Flynn, I mean, he's been a huge source of inspiration. I learned so much from him over the years. When I discovered his podcast, I just binge listened. And so I learned a lot from that. And now I'm in his SPI Accelerator program, which is his high-level mastermind coaching program. So he is actually now my business coach, and he knows who I am. And I actually talked to him this morning. And so he is a huge influence on me, and I just love how he balances, his family and really making them a priority. And so I think he's a great role model, and he knows his stuff when it comes to marketing and building an authentic business that helps people. And then Amy Porterfield, still love her, learned so much from her over the years, and Rick Mulready for Facebook ads specifically. He is a great influencer in that space. So I learned a lot from him as well.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, Paflin's done a lot for the digital marketing, internet marketing space. I think I learned about SEO, or at least I first heard of it from his podcast, and also building affiliate sites and stuff like that. Yes. So that was And I don't know what episode he's on right now because I personally don't listen to the show anymore. But you know, I'm sure he's got a lot of episodes, and
Yeah,
I heard them back in the day. So, um, okay, actually, so you know, well, final question is what do you have a favorite book that you'd like to recommend to our audience?
sure. So one book that we use, I read the book last year in 2018, and I fell in love with it, and then bought it for my entire team. Story Brand, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller.
Okay.
And so that I just think is a great process for understanding your audience and learning how to speak to them and connect with them. And so that is something that we use. We go through his process for our conversion campaign clients where we're driving traffic to a sales funnel, where those ads include much more copy, and we really need to speak to the audience in using their language. And so we really want to make sure that we're stepping into that role of our client's shoes of being able to speak in their words and speak to their audience in their words. And so we go through that process with each of our conversion campaign clients. And then we share that with our client to make sure that we're on the same page, that we are representing their brand and speaking, and using the words and the language that they would use, but then also to really step into those shoes before we write the copy for the ads. So that is a book that I definitely recommend. And then for productivity, I am in love with the 12-week year. And so I have implemented that with my team this year, and we are rocking and rolling following that strategy. I've always loved goal setting and planning, but it really helps me to break it down so I know what I need to do every week in order to move forward on achieving the goals. So those are my two favorite books right now for business.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I've heard of the 12-week year, and Story Brand has definitely popped up a few times. I can't remember the guy's name that wrote it. Donald. What is it?
Donald Miller.
Donald Miller. Yeah, I think I checked out his book. It's like a hundred years in a million in I don't know 100 years in 100 days or something like that. I can't remember, but it's another book that he had. It's pretty good. He's a pretty funny writer, actually. I would say. Um, well, I think that's pretty much it here. But at the end of this call, I think you have something special for our audience.
Yeah. So I'd love to offer your audience, just as a thank you for having me here, my free Facebook ad starter kit. And so they can go to monicalouie.com/human proof to download that.
Very cool. Yeah. Monica, it's very apparent that you definitely know your stuff. And I think we asked you some difficult questions, at least in our eyes. So, well, thanks again for coming by, and we'll see you guys later.
All right. Thank you for having me.